everyone, today's video will be a demonstration of my current fall manicure. I'll be showing these 4 different finishes. For the pointer finger, I did use Aurora Luminara pigment, and I wanted a slight glittery finish, so I applied this into the sticky layer of the polish rather than a smooth metallic finish. For the middle nail, I did use some of this gold foil or leafing flake, and it's called Variegated, and I'll leave a link down below where you can find that. For this nail, I did use the EMI Charmicon silicone stickers, these beautiful gold stickers that I did some hand-drawn flourishes. I simply used the base color along with a little bit of white gel paint to lighten it up and to thicken up the gel polish as well. And for the pinky, I did some orange tinted iridescent film that I simply cut into little shards and applied into the sticky layer of the base polish. So those were the nails that I'm demoing today. So let me get my supplies together and we'll get started. Now for the sample nail, I have done 2 coats. Actually, sorry, that was 1 coat. This is a very pigmented polish, so I was able to get away with 1 coat on the nail, and I did apply 1 coat of the accents top coat over that. Now you don't have to apply the accents over that if you don't want. I just for this particular demo I did. You can simply apply your sticker though over a cleansed base color coat if you would prefer. So I simply peel off my sticker, and for this design I wanted it slightly off center to make room for that flourish design. So I just lay down that sticker where I would like, and then I just take my cuticle nippers or maybe some cuticle scissors and trim away the excess off the top. These adhere pretty well. If you have to make more extreme cuts, kind of like I did on my more pointier nails, then I did find that it didn't adhere quite as well. You might leave a little bit of a border near the top where the actual base color shows, rather than it going completely to the edge, and do not overlap around the tip because it will just peel on you if you do that. So you will need to seal this, so you can apply your favorite top coat over this. You can do a matte top coat, you can do your shiny top coat, whichever is your preference. You'll apply that and cure it for the recommended time. Make sure you get a good coat and seal those edges. And once you have that out of the lamp, now we're going to go ahead and prepare the gel that we're going to paint our scrolls with. So once again, I just took a little dab of the base color. This particular formula for this collection, it's the Modern Muse, this is from the Modern Muse collection, is quite nice. It's thick enough on its own that if you don't want to lighten it, you could probably get away with maybe doing some smaller fine designs with the polish itself, but I wanted it to be slightly thicker and also lighter, just to give it a little bit of contrast for it to show up against that the darker pumpkin color. This is a gorgeous color, by the way. Actually, all the colors in the collection are very, very pretty. I'll leave a link to the entire collection, as well as just a link to the single polish for those interested. And to paint the design, I will be using my cute little diamond fine line brush. I got it off of AliExpress, and again, as always, I will link to any products that I use. If I can still find them, they will be down in the info section for anybody interested. And now we're just going to paint our scroll or flourish design. You can certainly do whatever design interests you here, but I thought it was a nice contrast with that beautiful gold sticker. If you're using a thinner polish and you don't lighten it up or don't have a thicker paint to thicken it up with, you can certainly still use it, but you might find that you have to flash cure your design as you move along to prevent any of your lines from spreading. Plain gel polish on its own tends to be a little bit thinner and will spread if, especially if you paint it on thick. That's the nice thing about these very fine detail brushes. You're able to get those nice thin lines, and hopefully they won't spread on you too much. Now, I've had some people ask me about, obviously I'm not going to be able to twirl somebody's hand around to get the designs kind of like I am doing in this demo. As always, when you see me working on these nail stands and turning the nail every which way, it's really just for the convenience of doing this demo. I've had some people, tell me that obviously they're not going to be able to move their client's hand around like that. And obviously you can't. You'll simply adjust your painting to make sure that you're not inconveniencing your client. Now, once you finish with your design, both the paint, gel paint and the gel polish are 30-second cure, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to cure that for 30 seconds in an LED. It will have a slight sticky layer, so I'm taking my lint-free wipe with some alcohol and simply removing the tacky layer. And that's all you need to do. That design will stay in place and that nail is finished. And you can see how easy that was. Now our next nail is going to be our gold leafing nail. And again, I picked this up at my local Texas art supply, but I was able to find this, I'll leave a link, I believe it was through Michael's, and it's got a picture of Mona Lisa on the front, and again, this is the what they call a variegated foil, or you could even say it's like an oxidized maybe look to it. It is extremely thin. Be sure that you don't breathe heavily around this, otherwise your little bits will go floating all around. And I'm going to show you the difference between using different base coats for this. The left thumbnail, I used the Gelish foundation to apply the foil into. Gelish has a very slippery sticky layer once it's cured, and because of that it tends to make this foil look a little bit more wrinkly because you're not able to smooth it out. For my right thumbnail, as you can see here, it's much smoother looking, and that's because the Perfect Match, the Le Shot, is has a very almost no sticky layer. There is a slight tack to it, but it's not slippery. It's not like a liquidy kind of tacky layer. So I was able to get a smoother finish to the foil. So whatever base polish you're going to apply your foil into, or base gel, color gel, top coat gel, I would recommend one that does not have a slippery tacky layer. So you're just going to pick up little bits of your foil, and I tried to get different colors, color variations in different areas for more interest, and I just lightly pat it into the sticky layer. I'm not going to do any smoothing just yet. So once you get your base color completely covered, or you don't even have to cover your base color completely. I did one sample nail just to kind of practice a little bit, and I did just little, maybe covered about 1/3 of the nail with the foil, and it came out looking quite nice. But for this one I am covering the entire nail. And now this is where smoothing it comes into play. I'm using my e.l.f. concealer brush. I think I picked these up at Target for $2 each. And it's got short, stiff bristles. And the reason I'm doing this is because where some of that foil overlapped onto the other pieces of the foil, I wanted to remove that with the brush. And the rest of the foil will remain sticking into that tacky layer. So I'm giving that a good brush, getting all those little bits of foil removed, and you can see it also burnishes up that foil, just as anybody who's ever tried gilding before, using sizing or something like that. This is the same premise here, where you use a brush to burnish the surface. And you can see how beautiful and smooth that looks. Now again, this foil looks fantastic with a matte over it, but I will admit that it doesn't last quite as long with a matte top coat over it as it does with a shiny gel top coat. And I would actually apply 2 coats of the top coat to make sure that your foil stays where you want it for the duration of your manicure. I would float the polish over the top. Do not overbrush this, otherwise you're going to lift that foil up. You'll lift up little bits of it and it'll kind of poke through the top coat. So there it is out of the lamp. Now for our pinky, we'll be using the iridescent foil, and for this one I did like to use the gelish foundation for this. I did like that extra slipperiness to lay down that it's not really foil, it's just a film. This has no backing on it that you would rip off, and the iridescent stays where it is. This is a film, and I found that applying it into the sticky layer worked a lot better for this foil to stay put. So I'm taking some cuticle scissors here. I just like this because it kind of, especially if you cut longer pieces, it kind of gives a little bit of curve to it, and I liked that. So just giving a little demo here of what I did. I just cut a few slivers off. And one thing I will say, for instance, this piece here, it's completely flat, and you do want your whatever pieces you're going to lay down to be completely flat. If there's any kink to it, if there's any anything that doesn't lie flat completely into that surface, you're going to find that it won't stay put. and it'll raise up and you'll have issues once you put your top coat. So this is really easy to do. You're just going to place your little slivers of your film directly into that sticky layer. And it's however you would like to put these pieces in. And I just, using my little tool here, I just make sure that all the areas are lying flat and are sticking into that tacky layer. If you need to reposition it, you can certainly do that, but be careful not to kink it up if you do move it. And if you find that you don't like that piece or you need to remove it, it's no problem. You can simply lift it up and place another piece wherever you would like. I think I got these iridescent foils from the Born Pretty store. I believe I got 10 foils, I think, for some ridiculously cheap, inexpensive amount. And I'll leave a link down at the bottom for these. This kind of orangey tint with a golden yellow iridescence I thought went perfectly with this beautiful pumpkin color. Perfect for fall. Now, this is what I'm talking about if you have a piece that's not going to lie flat. That little tip of that piece has a little kink in it. And they really just will not lie flat whatever you try with it. Maybe a thicker gel might work, but in this case, since I didn't use say like a builder gel or something like that, it didn't work. Now, I've got all my pieces on the nail, and now I'm going to pop that back into the lamp for maybe 10-15 seconds to just get that to adhere just a little bit more. Now, learn from my mistake. When I was practicing, I was so completely frustrated when I went to go top coat it directly, and because this foil is completely smooth and metallic, and it's kind of like when you try to apply sometimes a top coat over a chrome and the top coat starts to separate. That's what was happening with this film. So I found, as with the chrome, that if I applied this Dehydrator over it, the top coat, when applied over it, did not separate. So that's what I would suggest if you have any issues with your film. And here is the nail out of the lamp. And you can see how beautiful different angles give you different looks. It's a really gorgeous nail. This nail, if you've applied glitter into tacky layer of gel before, you know how easy this is. I wanted a subtle glittery look again, rather than the smooth gorgeousness that you get from Luminara Aurora. You can certainly do that, but I wanted more of a glittery finish. So again, I'm using the gelish foundation. I have cured it, and you can see that the tack is still there. And now I'm just going to take my brush here and pick up a little bit of the pigment. Again, you won't need much for this. And I'm just going to pat that into the tacky layer. Alright, I'm going to do just enough of the pigment to get a nice even coat over the nail. And I'm just going to brush it, make sure it's all completely smooth. Brush off any of the excess pigment. This really is gorgeous. With this, it almost looks like a glass flake. It's really pretty. And now we're ready to go ahead and top coat. You could use your favorite top coat here. I'm just using my Accents No Wipe, but you can use a top coat that has a tacky layer as well. Alright, we'll cure that in the lamp for 30 seconds in an LED. And here are all 4 of our finished nails. So I hope you guys have enjoyed the fall inspired demonstration. I certainly enjoyed doing them. If you have any comments or questions, go ahead and leave them down below for me. Also, as always, I will leave links to all the products that I used below, right down there in the info section. If you enjoyed the video, go ahead and like and subscribe. And until next time, I will see you guys later.